Golic and Wingo. Golic and Wingo. For Monday, February 24th.
Sunday in L.A., Lakers-Celtics. It would live up to its billing. Tight throughout and down the stretch in the fourth.
Goes to Davis. He'll rise from three. He'll connect. That's a tiebreaker with 2 minutes to go.
Roxanne. It's just an honor for me personally to be in a Laker uniform, playing against a historical franchise like the Celtics and being with a historical franchise like the Lakers.
In LA, yeah, got no breaks, yeah.
And inside that final minute.
9 to shoot. Spins, fades. LeBron gives the Lakers the lead. 30 seconds to go.
50 Bobby shaking bait, yeah.
The Lakers get their 5th straight win.
The rivalry itself and how much we should appreciate being a part of this legacy.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic, Trey Wingo here. You're back from Anguilla.
Yeah.
I am sort of still dealing with being back from where I was, and then Junior up and leaves us.
I mean, but this is where with age comes wisdom, right?
Thank you.
So you went to Hawaii. I
Yes.
bet you had a lovely time.
It was not terrible.
Just lovely, relaxing, right? I was in Anguilla, ourselves and the Perianos, a family we hang
Ace
around with.
Boogie.
Oh, boy. Yeah, Ace Boogie. And Alex Periano, that is.
Yes.
And it was an unbelievably relaxing time.
Yeah.
So I'm back from that. So we were two ships that passed in the night. We're finally back together.
Correct.
And then the one who was here the whole time through that was my son, Mike. Now he's gone. And for those wondering, he is not somewhere where he is going to be relaxing.
I mean, I guess some people would call this relaxing.
He is helping out our buddy Chris Long.
Correct.
With his Water Boys organization, trying to get fresh water into Africa where kids, especially kids, can't get great drinking water. He's been doing it for a few years, does a great job with it. And he gets a group every year, and they climb Mount Kilimanjaro. They raise money, and then they climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Mike right now is in Tanzania. And tomorrow, I believe it's tomorrow, and I don't know where, maybe it is tomorrow over there for all I know. I have no idea. But they start the hike tomorrow. And
Right.
6 days hiking up to the top and coming back down for them. And then he'll be back at some point next week. And keep my fingers crossed, because once they start, there's no cell service, no nothing. So
It's like olden times.
Yeah, it really is. We were texting him on the way back from our trip as he was starting his. He left over the weekend, and more power to him, man. Yeah. I mean, it's a very cool thing he's doing. It's a really great thing that Chris obviously is doing, and Mike wanted to be part of it and raised, I think, about $20,000 for it. So very, very cool. But, yeah, the hike starts tomorrow. So we'll try and give you updates along the way if we hear anything.
Or we'll just see him when we see him.
As I said, my words of advice to him were, put one foot in front of the other till you're at the top.
Correct.
Till they tell you to turn around.
Yeah, that's just the simplest way to do it.
Where else can I go?
Exactly.
You know?
Up. So we'll see what happens with that. Meanwhile, in the NBA on Sunday, we had the second and final regular season meeting between the Lakers and the Celtics, and it did not disappoint. Because the Lakers, what was it, last month or December? They got blown out in Boston by 32 points.
Yeah.
So this time the Lakers get the win, 114-112. Anthony Davis comes up big during the game, and LeBron with the big shimmy shake at the end to give them the win, 114-112. And the Lakers, they're starting to pull away from this thing here now. You go to the NBA standings and you look at, I think they're up 6 games on Denver in the loss column.
They're up 5.
Right now.
They're up 5 overall.
5 overall, 6 in the loss column.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when the season began, figured it would be the Lakers or the Clippers, and the Clippers, for whatever reason, just haven't been able to find the glue and the gel that the way. We all wondered how well LeBron and Anthony Davis would work together, and it has been as good as advertised, if not even better.
Oh, listen, the great thing about it is this was a great game for the young people who love to watch the game now, and a great game for us, because what did we get? We got so many great Lakers and Celtics games in the past. I mean, just tons. They've met an NBA record 12 times in the NBA Finals. So the last time, I believe it was in 2010. And the Lakers won that game in 7, and then 2008 the Celtics beat the Lakers in 6. So, but I mean, we grew up on this stuff. This was fantastic.
It felt like every year in the 80s they met for the title.
Everyone's going to sit and talk about how great it was, the rivalry, and can you rekindle that rivalry? And quite honestly, and we'll get to that. There's Milwaukee sipping their tea, saying, "Hey, you know what? We're already in the playoffs. You guys go ahead and do what you want to do.
Right.
We're the best team in the East, and maybe the best team in all of the NBA. Record-wise, they are the best team in the NBA. But this was an excellent game, and I could see both sides feeling good about it. Maybe one side feeling really good about it. Boston did this without Kemba Walker.
Yep.
No Kemba Walker in this one. This was a tight game, a tie game going into the fourth. Celtics then took the lead in the fourth, and it was a fadeaway by LeBron with 30 seconds to go that gave them the lead for good. Anthony Davis hit a couple free throws with 12 seconds to go. Another one with 6 seconds to go to ice it. Jason Tatum for the Celtics was unbelievable. He had 37 after three quarters, 41
and I think he
for
was
the game.
scoreless in the first 6 minutes.
Yeah. He scored just 4 points in the fourth quarter. We saw the ending there where Brad Stevens got the tee and, got a little bit crazy at the end there. But what a game this was. So I could see Laker fans saying, we got destroyed by this team and now we beat them, play better at home against them. But I certainly could see the Celtics saying, you know what? We did this without Kemba Walker.
Yeah.
We're feeling pretty good about ourselves. And Jason Tatum, the dude's 21. He's 21 years old and now is the youngest to score 40, in this series. It's crazy how good he is. So, and the Celtics are sitting in the 3 slot right now, 9 behind Milwaukee. Again, we'll get to Milwaukee, who didn't play and clinch the playoff spot. But this game, it was a fun game to watch. Again, a 2-point game at halftime, a tie game after 3 quarters. So it was a fun one to watch and let guys like us kind of relive those days a little bit.
Some of the best memories of me in the NBA were those two teams competing for those championships all those years in a row. So you mentioned the other thing, Mike. The Bucks quietly did something on Sunday by not playing.
Yeah,
that is absolutely remarkable. They clinched a playoff spot.
Yes, they did.
By I think by the Wizards losing, I think they clinched a playoff spot.
They did. It was the Wizards losing. Yes.
And they win Saturday. Excuse me. So they're 48-8 right now. It's the earliest that anybody in the NBA has clinched. It's February.
Yeah.
And they've clinched a playoff spot. It's the earliest in 15 years. They're on pace to win 70 games.
They are. We know that's only been done twice. Obviously, the Bulls 95-96, and then the Warriors 2015-16. So,
and we don't look at the Bucks the same way we look at those teams.
They don't have that cachet. They don't have that. Oh my God, Lakers and Celtics. Could we get this again? When you have who could be after this season a back-to-back MVP in Giannis and what he is doing, he is as spectacular as ever. And leading this team, but unfortunately, Milwaukee doesn't have that draw to them, they don't have that. And when you have arguably the most talented and best athletic player and best player in the league in Antetokounmpo, they don't get talked about enough.
So that's the question, right? Are we looking? I guess the question with the Bucks is: are we looking at them correctly or incorrectly? Because as you said, they clearly have the best player in basketball right now in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the way he's going to go back-to-back MVPs and the way he's dominating, the stats he's putting up are incredible. But because of what we saw from them last year in the conference finals when Kawhi and company were able to shut them down, are we looking at them and basing too much on that? Or should we be looking at the things they're accomplishing this year and maybe think, okay, we need to start looking at them in the perspective of the other two 70-win teams in NBA
Well,
history?
I think maybe part of it is we're so locked in on Lakers-Clippers in the West, right? And the Clippers are actually more games behind the Lakers than Toronto, or actually the same amount than Toronto is behind Milwaukee. But that was the talk from the beginning of the year. Just like the talk had always been from the beginning of the year, well, Golden State's going to win another finals. Can LeBron, whatever team LeBron's on, challenge them in the finals, right? We've been doing that for half a decade. So now we're not doing that anymore. So this year it was, it's the Clippers and the Lakers. They're going to meet in the Western Conference Finals, and everybody still thinks the Clippers are the deeper team, but who will come out on top on that one? And I think for Milwaukee, Trey, they've been leading for so long in that conference that everyone is kind of putting them to the side and saying, you know what, we'll talk about them come playoff time because we know they're the best record in the NBA right now, arguably the best team in the NBA. They'll get their chance. So we'll just kind of push them aside because of Toronto, it's the Celtics, it's the Heat. We're talking so much about the 76ers and why aren't they playing better than they should be. Oladipo
good at home, terrible on the road. Yeah.
Oladipo comes back for the Pacers. Can he help once he started coming back? So that there have been other storylines because the Bucks have been leading this thing that I think especially Buck fans are saying, hey, what about us? And we're all like, yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna be the top seed, and then we'll go from there. That being said, and we've talked about this before, there is no doubt, I think, in your mind and my mind, they have the most pressure on them.
Correct.
Because they have one guy who can sign a 5-year, $252 million deal this summer or not. Yeah. And we have seen guys do the or not part of this thing. So are they going to do well enough? And that's when it'll get real I think for Milwaukee, where can they go in the playoffs? And it can be far enough. And can Giannis see this team doing enough where he's going to want to stay there? Because we've talked about it. If he leaves Milwaukee,
yeah, it's tough.
Man, that's going to be tough.
Listen, I think we all know what we think the Bucks are, but until they can prove that they can take it to the next level in the postseason, we'll be okay, right, fine until then, because you're just 70 wins. Let's just assume for a second they get there. I don't think we'll say that they're the same as the Bulls or that Splash Brothers team in Golden State that won 70 because the championships.
They'll be the least talked about 7
Correct. They will literally be the least talked about.
Yeah.
No, that's right. They didn't win the championship that year. That was the year LeBron beat them in the finals.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just the way it is, man, for lack of a better term. And the Bucks clinching that playoff spot with their win over the Sixers Saturday and the Wizards lost Sunday puts them in the zone. The Monday morning roundup is brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. So we got that to deal with. But coming up, the big test at the NFL Combine has nothing to do on the field or in the weight room or hand size or anything like that. We'll get to all of that, Mike, after this.
God, it is hand size season.
Love hand size season.
Basketball season is heating up. We know that. It's a time when standings begin to take shape and real competitors discover just how far they can go. Goodyear knows the road to the playoffs takes the right amount of momentum and drive, and that movement is the path to discovering your true potential. So, on your drive, Goodyear wants to help you discover your own possibilities no matter where that road is going to lead. When it comes to choosing tires, visit Goodyear.com and pursue the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven. Back after this, Golic and Wingo.
Stream your favorite sports,